How's everybody doing? It was a good team that we played tonight. Jared's a good coach, does a good job. They've got a successful program, and they have a culture, and so I was really impressed with them. And what we said in the locker room before the game was, have no expectations. Just get lost in the game. And I think a lot of times young people have a tendency to make up a script on how they think the game's going to go. And the first couple of possessions, I think things started going according to script, and then there was still 38 minutes left. and they're a good team, and they did some good things, and we found ourselves in a game, and it forced us into a test. And so I'm proud of the guys that we found a way to pass the test. We're a little bit sloppy and didn't close the game the right way, but for us to hold them to 35% from the field and 21% from three, had we made a couple of shots that we expect Zach to make and some of our shooters to make in the first half, maybe we could get a little bit of separation and some breathing room as the game went along. But I think, as the game was going on, you don't want it to be close. As it was, but the fact that it was and it played out the way it did, and we had to show a little resolve, that for the growth of our team and as we try to get connected, I think I wouldn't have scripted that any differently.
Obviously, Zurich was a freshman last year, but 28 points career high tonight. He looks just a lot more confident out there and kind of with that drive and stuff like that. What have you seen from him in terms of confidence and specifically tonight?
Yeah, I think there's a trust between he and I and the staff, that he can be aggressive, and obviously he's on the ball a lot. I think having Jefferson back for the first time at least gave us in the backcourt rotation another ball handler, which could take a little bit off Zurich's plate, and as Jefferson gets more comfortable, because he hasn't, this was really his first action. He hasn't even really practiced very much for the last couple of weeks. So having him back in the game and getting in the rotation, it was a lot to throw on him, but I think it helped Zurich some just to free him up to be more aggressive.
With Zurich's offensive performance tonight, do you need him to be more of a shoot-first guard than some traditional point guards normally are?
Well, I just need him to be himself. And I need him to grow from there. I want him to be aggressive. I want him to see the game through a broader lens, because I think he's a guy that, hell, he could get a triple-double in a basketball game. The way he rebounds the ball at a high level. He is a good passer, but the game is going to slow down for him eventually, and he's going to see things. So, but I want him. He can score, and I want him to score, but being a scorer in and of itself doesn't prevent you from being a good playmaker, a good passer, a good defender, a good rebounder, etc. And he checks all of those boxes, and I want him to continue to approach the game that way.
They tied the game with about 13 minutes left, and it seemed like there was maybe a little shift in what you guys kind of execution-wise. Probably don't want it to take them time in the game to do that, but what did you see as you guys were really able to kind of push things from there on out?
Well, it started with a couple of key plays by Zach, and then defensively we put together some stops and got some run-outs and got some drives. We got to the free throw line a few times. A credit to them that they made that run. They really were playing the game to win, and they put themselves in a position to do that. And I think that was, one of the last timeouts, I think around 5-minute mark or so. I was saying in the huddle, like, this is great, man. This is a great opportunity for us to get closer as a team and to improve. And so I thought we did that tonight. I didn't like the way we closed out the game execution-wise, but in the heart of the game there, like you're talking about, we did go to some different things, and we actually executed some things really well that we hadn't practiced before, that I had in my back pocket for later. But because there was a lot of denial, and the ball wasn't moving as much as that had moved in the last few days of practice, we had really, I'll say this to you, this is a long-winded answer, but Saturday was our best practice so far in terms of the team looking the way I want them to look on offense and defense. Saturday was the first day that we put both together. and then we followed it up yesterday, and we didn't carry it into today, but we at least got to see it on film. And so when we don't do it in the game, they at least know what they're not doing, because they finally experienced it and felt it. And so I think we got a chance to really build from that.
Kind of on that note, and I know it's the beginning of the season, first game, but there were across the basketball world some upsets tonight and some close games that maybe so many people perceived not to be close. I guess at the end of the day, even in a game where you didn't carry it over from Saturday, how important was it just to get a win ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, it's college basketball, man. You know what I mean? Like, it is a marathon. It's a long year. You know, like football, we got a little winning streak going. But, I mean, you think about it. In football, you lose 3 games, and it's like, I don't know how they do it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to sit on that for a week before you get a chance to play again, then another week. But you can still get it going. You can still get it turned, like we're doing now in football. So if you can do it in football, you got to understand that it's one day at a time. It's a long year. I mean, I'm sitting here right now, but we started out 0-4 in the Sun Belt last year. A lot of injuries, a lot of things, and then we won 12 in a row. So it's a really long game. The game is long, you know, let alone the season, right? So that's part of our problem, is just that understanding with so many new guys. Like, just get lost in it. Don't get so worried about the outcome of the game that you lose sight of what's going on there. Because before you know it, you're going to look up and that long season's going to be over. So just dive into it, get lost in it. And I thought we did that during that time that you're referring to in the game. We just started playing, and then we got the lead, and then we kind of didn't finish yet, but we'll figure it out.
Obviously, Zurich led on the score sheet, but what did you think of your bigs tonight, both offensively and then with the interior defense as well?
Well, I think F.A. has some spots where he was really good on both ends. He's a good scorer and a finisher around the basket. He's been shooting the ball short around the rim and not closing some of those possessions, but you can see once he gets going what is effective. I mean, he's been a double-digit scorer since he was a freshman in college, averaging double-double. So he'll get it going. You know, he's got a good offensive skill set. Mo Jai was great tonight. I mean, he played really hard, was really active, played great ball screen defense, and I don't know what the stats say about his game, but I know from my vantage point, I was super proud of the energy that he brought to the floor. And we normally get that from Keon. He only played 8 minutes, but still a good contribution. And Steph made key shots and free throws. So a lot of contributions there tonight.
3-point shooting numbers, is that just kind of first game of the season, getting into a game rhythm shooting that?
Don't we all hope so? If that's what we're gonna do all year, then I'm gonna have to really need some Moody Magic. But I think yes. I mean, Zach Nuttall 1 for 6. He's gonna make shots. Zurich's a good 3-point shooter. 1 for 4. Steph was 1 for 2. 3 for 18. That's I want to shoot more of them. But I definitely want to make more, and I think we will. We got good shooters. They make them in practice. And again, the defense tonight was pretty good, and we didn't get those rhythm shots. But some of the good looks in the first half, I thought Zach was a little tight because he had about 2 or 3 really clean looks that I was so happy that he made the one in the second half just to get off the schneid here.
You kind of talked about Mo's development from the time he got here to the beginning of the season, being impressed by that. I guess with each progressiveness in that development, I guess how much does that give you optimism for his development this season?
Oh, I got a lot of confidence in Mo. He's going to be really good. And we had guys that didn't play tonight, like Xavier Foster's going to be a hell of a player. And I expect to see that from him this year. But he's just learning. So he's been out of basketball for a year and a half, and he's still learning just some concepts, and he's not ready. You know, I said this after the game. Most talented guy in our locker room. And if you polled our guys, they would all say that. But he's not ready to help us win right now. But he is working his tail off, and he's had his best week so far. So there's a lot of upside there between he, Keon, and Mo. those guys are gonna get better as the season goes along, and Sam is gonna get better as the season goes along, and FA is gonna improve, and I think Zach can do so much more, and Jalen can give more of a contribution. So there's a lot there, and they're figuring one another out, and it'll take some time.
How big is the next one to see what these guys do with a road trip and going to face a good Dayton team?
It's great. It's one of the best atmospheres in all of college basketball. Tremendous place, tremendous fan base. I love the people on that staff. Anthony Grant is a good friend. Ricky Greer is a close friend. Darren Hurts, close friends. We work together at University of Florida. So I know exactly how good they are. I know what kind of job they do. I know what we're up against between the venue and those people. We got our work cut out for us, and we're still trying to find ourselves. And it'll be nice to go in as an underdog, not from a motivational standpoint, but just like trying to get these guys to get lost in the game, you know, and not have a script. Now they know they're gonna have to fight every possession. I think that'd be good medicine for us.
Anything else? All right.
Awesome. Thank you.